Hi, Michael. How are you? This is Karim from PowerOfMetal.cl. First of all, thank you very much for taking the time to talk with us. It's a real pleasure to have you being here. Halloween is coming back to Chile. I want to start right there. It's okay?
Oh, sure.
You have played some huge shows in Chile over the years, and now Halloween is coming back once again. What kind of relationship do you feel the band has developed with Chilean audience after all these visits?
Well, that's always been very heartfelt and very crazy. I remember a few shows, like once we were out in the half desert or whatever, and there was also Slayer playing, I think. And that was like that long, dusty road, and we got there with the transport and whatever, and people were running all about. That was crazy. And there was that one crazy story that I think I had when we came for the first time in the hotel. I was in the backyard smoking because there was like some kind of garden or whatever, and there were some trees, and I was sitting somewhere. And I didn't want to be seen by the hotel staff necessarily because they would have come and said, like, there's no smoking here or whatever. And then that was so great. I was sitting there kind of hiding, smoking. And then suddenly I heard a voice. I heard like, hey, wake up, wake up. I was like, where's that coming from? Are there ghosts or anything? And there were two fans. They were sitting in the palm of the tree. They were
Oh,
hidden in the leaves of the tree. They were up there in the tree going like, can you give us autograph here, CD and stuff? And they were in that tree. And that was maybe like the first time we were there. I think that when that happened, it was incredible.
okay. This
Was
tour,
a
yeah, this tour
was a
also
Sheraton hotel or what it was? Go on.
okay. This tour also come at a very special point in the history of Halloween. More than 40 years have passed since the beginning of the band. When you look at everything that has passed, all the albums, line-up, tour, and different eras, does that actually feel like 40 years old?
No. And it's really strange, like yesterday I sat here in the sun and taking a cigarette, and I was like, this isn't much different than when you started smoking on an island in the Netherlands, and we were there like with kids and stuff. I had a jeans jacket, and I've gotten myself some Camel cigarettes back then because I like those. I don't wanna, tell people to smoke. It's like a very bad habit. You better never start. But yeah, I mean, I was 15 years old then, later, jeans jacket, because I just washed a jeans jacket here yesterday. So I was thinking that's kind of the same. You used to have the Camel cigarettes in your front pocket and then light it. And then yesterday it was like extremely sunny again. And I had that flashback. I was like, you're not really different from back then. First you were 12, then you were 15. Next thing you can say, you were walking the street where you lived in Hamburg, where you couldn't get out because you had no record contract or anything. You didn't even have a proper Stratocaster guitar yet. You had like a half self-built guitar. But that weather, and you got a lighter and you put the cigarette on, and that's the same situation. Do you feel really good in comparison, as the question? And yeah, you got to be careful about your health, what you eat, what you do, that you don't poison yourself with, for instance, monster drinks or whatever. And so, yeah, no, it doesn't feel like 40 years, but it is
Yeah.
crazy.
Wow. I want to
And
go
we're all
back.
getting white hair now, you too. Me too.
Yeah, it's, it's time. So I want to go back to those early years when you were writing those first Halloween song. Did you have any sense that you were actually helping to create a new musical language within heavy metal, or were you simply writing the kind of music that you personally wanted to hear?
Well, it was a bit of both. I mean, we were pretty knowledgeable about the things on guitar and what you can do with the Marshall amp and with the G10 equalizer to boost the Marshall. And then you need a kind of cable. You knew there were like better cables or worse cables, and then it doesn't sound so good. Or you need to have this or the other pickup, and I always had trouble. I never had clues of what is a good pickup. No idea for the guitar, right? And no, but we were aware that we had to do something special. We wanted to do something that people memorize when they hear it in the first concert that they ever went to with us and were playing somewhere. I wanted the people to still remember the melodies and maybe whistle them outside or something. Going like, what's that melody? That's been that band that played there, those Halloween guys. They played that. That's the melody. And we also wanted to have like a particular kind of concept, like how you run things with like lots of melodies, memorable stuff, hooks, and choirs, and first we did tracks for a club, and
Yeah.
then very quick in the studio you learned like the possibilities you have to create something like stadium rock, right? Then you're doing different parts, you're doing a different approach, you're doing different sounds. And when it was at that point, we were like, hey, we're meanwhile playing 3,000 people or something. I mean, let's go bigger and do something grand here. That's impacting stuff. Like, yeah, take a band like Van Halen. They did the riffs and whatever, and that's all memorable stuff. I mean, when I heard the first Van Halen album, I was almost freaking out. I was like, wow, amazing. What is he playing there? Oh, yeah, that's the way to go, or something similar. And then you were going like, yeah, you got to do something similar yourself, but not copy that. Well, I mean, and that's those things, the thoughts you get, right? And you're going, hey, you're being aware something around you is happening. You're creating something. And then at best, you want to come up with even better solutions, right? Impress people even more. And then there's a point where you maybe have a kind of routine of doing things, which isn't bad. I mean, you also have to come across self-assured, right?
Yeah.
And so that helps if you have a routine for things, then you go like, yeah, I know that's going to work. That's going to be a hell of a chorus. Probably people will like it. Maybe, I hope. And then there you go. That's how you proceed. Yeah.
Today, Halloween is considered one of the bands that essentially defined power metal. What does it feel 40 years later to be regarded as of the father of architects of an entire style of metal?
Yeah. Even though still, I got to say again, there was Judas Priest in 79 when I went to
Yeah.
school still. And they had Exciter, right? And that was something, or like Rainbow and Kill the King and other things. And then you were like, yeah, that's going that way where you want it. But then you still had to define your own very thing. I mean, also something like what there was with a Sex Pistols bass player back then, My Way, right? That was basically already Halloween. Like you have a magnificent melody and you have the power chords underneath, and then you do like a lot of noise, fast drums or whatever, quick drums, and then that's the Halloween concept. And as I said, I mean, people always thought like, no, you cannot do this. It's not possible. It's against the rules. And yeah, I'm repeating myself. But that's a good feel, to be like at the forefront of something that you achieved something. But that's why what I said before, you have certain concepts and you are following a particular routine. So then it's recognizable. Then people can say, okay, this must be Halloween, right? Not someone else.
Yeah.
Or you can then tell it apart by the vocals or so, no? But this guy isn't Kiske, it's someone else, right? Or this isn't Darius, it's someone else singing. Who could that be? And then yeah, then you're there. But it's great for me to see. It took so long, but to me it was so logical. Take great melodies, put a bit of speed, and then get progressive or whatever. Deep Purple, for me, kind of was like the first band who did something like that. And then it went on, and even Rainbow was like a lot more extreme, more defined into that direction. And that's been the stuff that we've been seeing, and I'm sure that's influences you have, but you just don't steal. I mean, you have a good melody, and the good melody got to come from somewhere, right?
And when you listen to younger bands right now, can you still recognize musical ideas that somehow trace back to those early Halloween records?
I wouldn't know. People tell me sometimes, and then they come and say, "Oh, this is because of what you did." And stuff, and then I go, yeah, okay, I have a sense, or maybe could be. Really, are you sure? Okay, that's where. Okay, and opinions are also different. No? Some people say like, but it's clear this is because you did this and that, and for me that was like, input, and so I made this out of it. And yeah, but then you can see it's just like a big field. For me, that's better, when so many people like it, because then obviously we have done something right. And then there's other bands that you can quote who are basically doing the same stuff that we are doing nowadays as well. And that makes you kind of proud. And yeah, I'm interested that that genre, will proceed. I mean, maybe there will be something great coming out from someone else that you're really excited about. Where you go like, okay, I mean, we have a great band, we're great, we're good, but that recording there is also great. I mean, there's, as an example, that's also, I think 20 years ago already, it's like Galnerios from Japan. They
Yeah.
got a track called The Promised Flag. I mean, when I heard it for the first time, I had to listen to it 64 times because I was like, this is impossible. What are they doing there? This is amazing, right? And it still is.
Okay. Let's talk about your songwriting. One thing I've always found fascinating about your songwriting is your ability to communicate quite serious or even melancholic ideas through incredible uplifting melodies like Eagle Fly Free. Where does that contrast come from?
Well, actually, I can tell you there was an East German band called Carousel.
Yeah,
And in '82, I've been listening to socialist Germany radio at night, right? And there was like a wall in between the East Germany and West Germany, and it was controlled by soldiers, and everybody who tried to escape got shot or went on a landmine and ended that way. And bands from over there, they were playing on that so-called tip disco on the radio at night. And there was a band who had a #1 hit in the GDR, in the uh, Democratic
yeah,
Republic of Germany, for some time. And it was called The Only Life, Das einzige Leben. And then they had a twin vocal melody towards the end with Hammond organ and with guitar. And that melody went like be, 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 or whatever. And I
yeah.
just needed the D, and I made Eagle Fly Free out of it. And then the
Oh,
rest I had to construct, right? That's how it came about.
wow. And how do you deal with writer's block? It has there And has there ever been creative block that forced you to approach a song in such a different direction that the final result actually surprised you?
I found out that there's a if I had a block, or I couldn't go on, or I couldn't get like the next good idea for lyrics, or a storyline for a track, or a subject, like what is this track about? Somebody getting drunk and then go to bed, and next day getting drunk again and go to bed. Not so interesting. So it's got to be something else. And in Out for the Glory, for instance, it was somebody who fell asleep on his sofa and then woke
Yeah,
up as the emperor, right? And with all his duties and whatever, and he probably stays the emperor. Like when he went back to sleep, maybe he's like the regular guy again, or maybe he's still the emperor. So that's the idea. And I found out that there's like a table at a restaurant here in my street. And I went there with the iPhone, and I was like chasing ideas. And then each time I have an idea, that I put it into the notes app of the iPhone. And then I
yeah.
go like, okay, that may be a good line, that may be a good lyric. And then I'm building the verse, I'm building the bridge. And then first I need the melodies for it, right? And then eventually a subject is coming along, or you have a subject and then you have to construct the melodies. And I found when I had no ideas each time, I went to one of those tables at the restaurant outside and I have a coffee and I just sit there for half an hour or two. Somehow the ideas were pouring into the iPhone. I mean, that was really kind of strange. And if I went somewhere else, still the writer's block, right? And so I found a point where I can actually go and see if I got no freaking ideas, if maybe there it's happening. And so far it always did. Really crazy over years now. And there's that particular spot that's, I don't know who's there or what is at work there. No idea.
And today you have two monster singers, Michael Kiske and Andy Daris. When you create a new Halloween song, do you already hear one specific voice in your head, even Kai Hansen voice?
Yeah, either that. I mean, we were talking about Out for the Glory, and I thought, I think the Darius is in there somewhere. I just don't quite remember, but that was like the Kiske. He liked that track quite a lot, and so he wanted to sing it. And I just had that bridge part where the Kai Hansen is doing the Iron Minions, right? That was clear. Sounds like him, got to be, and then that's also been the way it's been constructed. Personally, I think, anyways, at best, all singers would be involved in at best every track. But then there's the concept of feature track where the Michael Kiske was singing just under the moonlight or so. Personally, I would have preferred, to have all of them on one track. But that's a matter of concept and what the producer says and whatever.
Okay. And you have a lot of songwriters in your band. Has there ever been a song written for another guy that you say, damn it, I really wish I had written that one?
Yeah, sure, that happens. Or sometimes, I mean, once, some time ago, I had a strange melody that I had recorded, and then I wasn't sure if it hadn't been on one of Marcus's demos or so. So I played him that melody and I said, do you recall this? Do you remember this? I'm not sure. I thought it was maybe your melody or something. And then it was like, no, 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 not that, no, no. New melody, okay. I thought it was yours. No, no, I can't remember. I don't think it wasn't. Okay, then take it. It's crazy. Or there's other stuff. The beginning of Out for the Glory was, people say it's sounding like Slayer, South of Heaven, or right. I mean, I didn't know that track or that intro. And actually, I have a different feel about, and I just was thinking more in line of whatever it was. I didn't think of Slayer. But with that thing, I went to Danny because, like, Danny is the speed metal, death metal specialist. He knows all that stuff. And I said, have you ever heard this before somewhere, right? Because it sounded familiar to me, or the way it was so that I thought, isn't that already somewhere? And he said, no, not that I knew. Not that I knew. And so otherwise I would have changed it into something else. I think the Slayer thing has a different intention and it's really like a different quality. And then it's not so important. Anyways, it doesn't come from there. I just tried to construct it, and I was more thinking in a Judas Priest way.
Okay. And it has been 4 years of Halloween. Halloween survived enormous change, different singers, lineups, record labels. Was there even a moment when you genuinely thought this might be it, Halloween might be over?
Yeah, there was some points in time, but rather not think about it. It was like political stuff, management, record company stuff, hopelessness. No? I mean, once someone came with a piece of paper where we had to sign for the destruction of unsold CDs in the United States. And I said,
Oh,
I'm not going to fucking, and that was in a rehearsal before a tour, right? He came with that. And I said, I'm not going to sign that for you. I mean, then throw the CDs out for free to people who want to hear it, but not destroy it. I mean, I'm not putting my name under that. And that was like a point where you go like, how is this person working in his mind? I mean, coming with this piece of paper, asking me to sign that, I didn't. Hmm. Those are points where you go like, everything is lost and leave me alone. No? But no, let's not think about it. There's better things.
Yeah. Okay, Michael, thank you for your time. It's been a real pleasure to talk with you. But before we go, I'd like to give you the final word. Halloween is coming back to Chile once again. So, what would you like to say to all Chilean Halloween fans who are waiting to see you with the 4 years tour finally in Chile?
Yeah, as I said earlier, you know, everybody arrive safely and then let's have a super great time and then everybody get home safe, please. And the thing is, I can still add one thing, like we've never been told at Noise Records, you know, how many records we may have sold in Chile, right? Or what's been the situation in Mexico or the other South American countries, you know. We've never been told. We've never even been told that there were editions for each country.
Yeah.
And, you know, we always had that support from the Chilean fans, like extremely heartfelt and really great, you know, and like each nation has their own thing, like their own personality, right? But when we could see right away from the first time we ever went there, how the situation was. And I still wanted to thank everyone for that back then and nowadays.
Okay, Michael, thank you very much. See you at the concert. I will there.
Yes, thanks for your interest.